I've got my problem fixed with the computer and the recording, so if you need to watch a recording lesson, they'll be back up there starting tonight. Legacy and reflection on immigration. Immigration fundamentally reshaped America's politics and its population. Absolutely vital to understand that immigration is going to reshape America's population, and it's by its population, it's meaning its makeup, its demography, its demographics, and also it's going to shape its politics. Okay? Set the stage for ongoing debates about immigration and American identity. Those debates still continue today. How many people, if any at all, how many immigrants should America allow to come into the country each year? What should our immigration policy look like? Should we be tougher on vetting or doing background checks on people coming into the country? Or should we relax those standards? These are all debates that are ongoing, and they've been ongoing for a long, long time. Most importantly, girls and guys, the last bullet point here before the question, immigration established America, America's immigration policy established America as a country or a nation of immigrants. There's absolutely no disputing the fact, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing, that despite our ancestry, despite our backgrounds, despite our ethnicity, we might be Polish, we might be Irish, we might be Italian, we might be whatever our ancestry is, we put those aside and we celebrate living in this country, that we are all Americans first and foremost, and that's a wonderful thing. All right, so that wraps up the topic on immigration. If you could switch gears and open up your topic 4 packet, which should be on your stream. Topic 4 packet is going to be workers, professionals, and women. If you could open that up, we're going to talk about workers, professionals, and women as it relates to this topic. Workers, professionals, and women. If you have topic 4 open, PowerPoint 4, we'll get going on it. Let's take a peek here at the rise of capitalism. We hear that word all the time. We live in a capitalist society. We live under an economic system called capitalism. All right? What is it? What is it? Capitalism. We all hear it. It surrounds us all the time. What is capitalism? Capitalism involves people making choices in what, Lizzie? Not politics, no. Capitalism involves people making choice in the marketplace. In the marketplace. Capitalism involves people making choices between which items and services they're going to purchase and which ones they're not going to purchase. Okay? Between 1815 and 1850, we experienced rapid economic growth. Explosive economic growth related to the Industrial Revolution. And this shift from local agricultural economy to a national industrial economy is going to be characterized by our shift to what's going to be characterized as a market economy. A market economy. And capitalism and new technologies are going to transform American society. Capitalism is the idea that Americans are competing in a marketplace in which supply and demand is going to dictate which products and services are going to be available. Supply and demand is going to dictate which services and which products are going to become available. And generally speaking, in the capitalist economy, you are going to have people who are going to invest money, capital, in the hopes of earning a what? If you're an investor, Palin, and you're investing your money, you're hoping to get a what on that? A profit. Now, how do you get a profit? You get a profit by creating a product or service that people want need, and benefit from. I'm wearing a pair of Chuck Taylors, right? Now, I boast on Fridays because I like to dress down a little bit. I'm wearing a pair of Chuck Taylors. When I got these sneakers as a kid, and this is not the same pair, but 50 years ago, I could buy Chuck Taylors at Kmart for $4.99, okay? $4.99. These probably cost about 50 bucks. They're way overpriced. They didn't cost $50 to make, nowhere near $50 to make in the factory where they were made, wherever they were made. But basically, as consumers, I use sneakers as an example, we have a myriad of what when it comes to buying sneakers? Options, choices. Lizzie, what determines in your household or in your world, what determines what type of clothing or what type of sneakers you're going to purchase for Lizzie DeRosa? What goes into you deciding what you're going to get? Style and cost. Okay? Is it going to look good? And is it affordable? Okay? Capitalism is basically a type of economy in which consumers make choices. Consumers make choices about which products and services they are going to buy and consume. Okay? And with capitalism, you have the profit motive. And profit is not a bad word in Farley's dictionary. Profit is not a bad word. Profit means that businesses can earn money by providing a service, a product, or something that people want, need, or desire. Now, in a capitalist system, the competition among businesses, among corporations, among companies, the competition is what is going to force those companies to be continually making improvements and innovations on their products. If I went out today to buy a phone, would I have luck? You guys probably don't even know what this is, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway. If I went out today to a phone shop to buy a phone, do you think I would have luck finding a flip phone to buy? You guys all know what a flip phone is? Okay, depends on where I go. If I went to Mars, I might be able to get a flip phone, but most places in the United States, I'm not going to be able to get a flip phone today unless I go to a museum or some type of warehouse. Why is that not going to be like, why am I not going to have the opportunity to buy a flip phone? Like,
just style, not like new technology.
New technology has replaced flip phones. There's been improvements to phones. Apple, iPhone, huge improvement to a flip phone. Android, huge improvement to a flip phone. If I went out to buy a television set today, how many of you know what a black and white television is? Do you think they sell black and white TVs in marketplaces today? No. If you do find a black and white TV, you're probably buying it secondhand, and you're probably buying it from somebody who owns one. Why don't they sell them, Dylan?
Because of new technology with color.
New technology, color, 4K, 3D, you name it. TVs, man. And speaking of TVs, growing up in my household, we had one. It was in the living room. It was the size of a couch. It was a wooden console, a huge wooden console with speakers built in and a 26 diagonal TV, a screen in the middle, and it weighed about 1,600 pounds. It was huge. One TV in a house for 6 people. Is that the case today? Eva, one TV in a house?
Not really.
Now there's a TV in every room of a house. Why? Because TVs are more what? Not only they're more popular, what's happened to the cost? TVs are much more affordable today. Affordable. So capitalism and new technologies have transformed American society. Let's talk about, again, going to this is recap from an earlier slide, but recapping the transportation revolution. Canals, steamboats, railroads connected the 3 regions of the country. Katie, what were the 3 regions of the country during this period? There were 3 distinct regions. What were they called? North, South, and West. You got it. All right. So goods can now be transported faster and cheaper. With the transportation revolution, it created a national marketplace for buying and selling. I use the example of a Hoosick Falls builder of wood stoves. If you build wood stoves in Hoosick Falls during the Industrial Revolution, at the time when railroads are developing, at a time when canals are developing, you no longer have to depend on just selling to local members of the Rensselaer County community. Now with transportation improvements, I can sell my wood stoves anywhere in the country, all right? So transportation is going to create national marketplace for buying and selling. And this is extended today. Transportation and improvements to shipping and transporting goods has improved so much today, so that even as Americans, we can buy goods not just from companies in the U.S., but we can buy goods from companies around the world, okay? Around the world. So the transportation revolution is going to play a huge role in this market economy. Rise of factory work. We're going to see a shift from home-based, again, recap, a shift from home-based to factory-based production. Factories are going to be places where we're going to see the marriage of workers and equipment under one what? Under one roof. Workers and equipment under one roof. Factories. We're going to see the growth of textile mills, especially in the Northeast. Who remembers from 7th grade? You all had me for 7th grade. Okay? Who didn't have me for 7th grade in this group? Everybody here today had me for 7th? Alyssa did, and Haley did. So, who remembers the town in Massachusetts that was home for the mills that had the reputation as being the town where the factories and the mills were most safely organized, and it was kind of considered the best town for young women to be working in the early days of the Industrial Revolution? It's outside of Boston. Okay? Outside of Boston. Lizzie? What? Yep. Lowell, Massachusetts. Okay? Huge, huge town for textile mills and providing opportunities for women. All right? But harsh working conditions are going to be the rule. Lowell was the exception. Lowell was a decent factory town for women, but that was the exception, not the rule. Most towns that had factories are going to consist of very harsh working conditions, long hours, low wages, unsafe environments. And girls and guys, recap from this week and last, what are these things here? What are these things here going to result in the development of? Unions. Labor unions advocating for workers' rights and for improvements to the workplace. Good for you guys, all right? Let's continue. Impact on workers, the industrial economy and the market economy. Loss of independence as artisans became wage laborers. So, this is important. We haven't really talked about this before, but, well, we have, but we really haven't used this term. What, pray tell, is an artisan? A specific what?
Specific skill.
If you're an artisan, you're a specific skill. You have a specific skill. And the factory revolution, the industrial revolution, is going to do a number on artisans, because artisans who make things one at a time by hand are often now going to be replaced by workers and machines who are making things large quantities in a factory, oftentimes not using the same attention to detail, and oftentimes not giving it the same tender, loving care that an artisan is going to be using when he or she is making a product by hand. So there's going to be a loss of independence as artisans become wage laborers. Those artisans are now, by virtue of the market economy, a lot of them are going to have to take jobs in factories, working in factories, manufacturing goods that at once before were manufactured by hand. I'll give you an example of an artisan. An artisan might be someone who makes a pair of custom leather boots. Okay? Custom leather boots in the early part of the 19th century would be very, very detail-oriented and very, very ornate, and they'd have wonderful designs cut into them, and they would be often custom fitted to fit your feet. Now with factories manufacturing boots, what's going to happen to the type of product that's going to be made compared to an artisan if a factory is making boots now as opposed to an individual artisan? How might you characterize the difference between an artisan designed pair of boots than a factory-produced pair of boots. Is there going to be a difference? What? It probably, not always, but it's probably going to be not the same quality as a custom pair of boots. And with that, because the quality is not as much as the artisan produced pair of boots, how's that going to affect the cost? It's going to make it it's going to make it less costly and more affordable. Okay? Best example of this, when I was in the Army, I got issued a pair of boots. First, second day of boot camp, you get issued 2 pairs of boots. And I got 10.5 wide. Okay? Now, I wasn't 10.5 wide for that entire time up until the time I joined the Army, but when I joined the Army, I didn't realize that boots didn't come in wide and narrow, and if I was a 10.5 wide, what size boot do you think I got? I got a 10.5, okay? And for the first 2 weeks of boot camp, I'm literally shaving blisters off the sides of my feet and the backs of my feet because they weren't big enough, okay? Now, if they were a custom-made pair of boots, do you think I would have that problem? Probably not. Probably not. So, yes, quality is going to be sacrificed oftentimes, but the flip side of that is manufactured goods that were now made in factories are going to become more affordable, and therefore they're going to become more accessible. They're going to become more in reach of people with disposable income to buy. We're also going to see impact on workers. As we said, the formation of labor unions to fight for rights, to improve working conditions, to improve pay, and to reduce the workday, reduce the number of hours. And we're also going to see increased migration to growing urban centers. Lots and lots of people are going to move to urban centers because of the availability of jobs. What do we call that, Anna? The movement from rural areas to urban areas in large numbers. It occurred during the Industrial Revolution, the move of large numbers from the rural area to urban areas. What? Yeah, urbanization. Okay? Urbanization. Wow, I'm struggling with this pen today. Urbanization. Okay? The movement of large numbers of people from the urban area or from rural areas to the city to work in factories. All right? And lots of changes in the lifestyles of workers because of this. All right? There we go, the Lowell Mill girls, and I even included a video for you guys this time, all right? Young women worked in New England textile mills in Lowell, Massachusetts. Lowell had a nickname. You might not remember. If you do, I'd be super, super impressed. But Lowell, because it was kind of the best of the best for young girls to be working, Lowell was called a model factory town. Model in the sense that it was, not that these girls were models, but model in terms of the best of the best of the towns that employed large numbers of young workers. It was called a model factory town, meaning a good one, all right? A model factory town. Now, Lowell provided independence, but under strict rules. Women moving to the city for the first time had this newborn freedom that we talked about, this newfound freedom, but there were restrictions. If you're working 12-hour days and you're on your feet all day, with the exception of Ava here, but if you're working 12-hour days and you're on your feet, do you think you're going to be ready to go out and party all night? Okay? Probably not. You're going to be too what? You're going to be too tired. That's a restriction on your lifestyle. Okay? You're not going to be in any position to be out all night or to be doing things late at night if you're on your feet all day. So while they had independence, there were restrictions on their independence. There's only 24 hours in a day. If women are working 12-hour shifts, okay, and they're exhausted, and they still have to clean their clothes, and they still have to prepare their meals, and they still have to do whatever it is that women needed to do at that point, there wasn't a lot of time for leisure activities, but those leisure activities, when they became available, they certainly would be things that girls would enjoy. For example, at the same time factories start to build in large cities, we're going to see the development of forms of entertainment for men and women. And one of those forms of entertainment are going to be saloons and actually theater. Not movie theater yet, not moving pictures, but plays and dramatic productions that occur, especially in large cities like New York and Boston and Philadelphia. This will provide women in these factory towns with an outlet, something to do outside of work that they can enjoy, that they can experience, that will give them a balance in their life, which has been overcome at this point by long hours. They face difficult working conditions and low pay in the Lowell mills. Organized, some of the first strikes were to be by female workers. Some of the first labor strikes in our country's history are going to be performed by female workers in the Lowell area in Massachusetts. So let's take a look at the video for some more insight on exactly what's going on with Lowell.
Your screen's frozen.
Say again?
Your screen's frozen.
Thank you.
Cotton is changing the way Americans live. In time, it will blow the nation apart. For the South, cotton is a gold mine. Now the North wants a piece of the action. It's a partnership that makes everyone rich. Based on a new machine, the power loom. Raw cotton comes in, finished cloth goes out, all under one roof. The modern factory is born. Lowell, Massachusetts is called the City of Spindles, a textiles boomtown. Population explodes from 200 in 1820 to nearly 20,000 in just 15 years. More than a third of the town works in the mills. 85% are single women between 15 and 25. Harriet Robinson is 10. When her father dies, she goes to work at the mill.
I can see myself now, racing down the alley, between the spinning frames and carrying in front of me a bobbin box, bigger than I was.
Women earn money for the first time. Harriet's wages help support her family. Industrialization is changing everyone's lives.
Oh, the mill girls make good use of their money. The mortgage is lifted from the homestead, the farmhouse is painted. Mill girls help maintain widowed mothers and drunken or invalid fathers. We were paid $2 a week. Oh, how proud I was when it came to my turn to stand upon the bobbin box.
When women really joined the workforce in the cotton mills and the thread factories, I think it gave women an opportunity to get out, be serious about being breadwinners, and it changed the whole fabric of America.
The mills also revolutionize how Americans dress. Mass production of cheap cotton fabrics spawns America's clothing industry. Previously, most families made their own clothes. Now people buy ready-to-wear. Eastern fashions replace buckskin. By 1850, men's clothing is the largest manufacturing industry in New York City.
For me, what makes me proudest to be an American is that American spirit of productivity, optimism, this idea that the world doesn't have to be doom and gloom, that we can use technology to make our lives better.
Fashion isn't the only innovation to come out of the mills. Technology developed here will lead straight to Silicon Valley. Looms pioneer punch cards to produce patterned fabric. Each hole in the card tells the loom to use a different colored thread, a yes-no decision. It's binary code, the basis of all modern computers. The birth of the computer and internet began in cotton mills with these looms.
You know, in every major development, I think, in the history of America, technology has been at the center of it.
Despite 12-hour shifts, the factories offer a new world of opportunity for women. They're reading more, talking more, educating themselves.
Yeah, reading books on factory time was against the rules. But we hid books in apron pockets and waste baskets. Oh, and sometimes we pasted poems on our looms to memorize.
And for the first time in America, their voices are heard. October 1836. Women from the Lowell mills gather after work and organize. Their protest against wage cuts is one of the first strikes in U.S. history. And they will win. The mill bosses back down. A generation of young women go on to become teachers, writers, and even college graduates. Harriet Robinson will become a leading suffragette and testify before Congress. They're the first wave in a movement that results in women getting the vote.
So this young girl was just described as someone who would become a suffragette. Later in her life, she would be involved in the movement to push for women to be allowed to vote in the United States. She got her start in the labor movement and Lowell, pushing and making strides toward encouraging companies to increase wages, reduce workplace incidents of violence, and install safety features, and also this kind of catapulted her to a career of activism, which resulted in her becoming an advocate for women and the right to vote as well.
Their secret meetings at night are only possible with the light from lamps powered by an extraordinary creature.
What creature do you think is powering that lamp at night in 1836? What creature is providing the oil necessary for a lamp to be lit? Actually, whales. Okay, whales. Okay, let's finish up. We have a couple of minutes left. And I'd like to spend the remaining time that we've got trying to get through as much of this as can. Let's talk about professionals in the market economy. We're going to see, because of the people who are able to make money, and because of the fact that more and more people are now becoming part of the middle class, we're going to see the growth of what are going to become known as middle class occupations. Occupations like teaching, careers in law, careers in medicine, engineering fields. All these are going to see a rise as a result of the Industrial Revolution. We're going to see an increased number in the need for teachers, for lawyers, for medical workers, both doctors and nurses, as well as increases in the need for engineers. Engineering degrees are going to be important. Why? Lizzie, in the Industrial Revolution, are engineering degrees going to be necessary? What's happening that would necessitate engineering degrees? Buildings, roads, tunnels, canals, all those things require engineers and great minds. So we're going to see an increase in all those occupations. Also, we're going to see an increased need for managers in new business, office managers in law offices, office managers, go ahead, in insurance businesses, office managers in banking institutions, okay? And we're going to see a rise in what's called white-collar work. Someone please tell me, what is the difference between white-collar work and what is called blue-collar work? What is white-collar work? White-collar office work, Katie?
Is that like factory work?
White-collar, connected to males typically when the phrase is used, would be guys who were wearing what?
Suits.
A shirt and tie. A white collar with a tie. Blue collar work would be more in line with what type of work? If you wore a blue collar shirt. Construction, outside working on maybe a crew that's building a road or building a canal or laying cement or concrete, those types of occupations, all right? We're going to see a rise in white-collar office work as a result of the Industrial Revolution as well. So all these things are going to, as cities start to grow, and as cities become larger and larger, there's going to be a need for more and more people in these types of fields to service the needs of the people who are living in cities. All right? So it's going to result in a great impact on professionals. All right? Women in the workforce. Women in the workforce. Limited but growing opportunities outside the home. And this is going to start primarily in the mills, in the Northeast. Okay? Limited but growing opportunities outside the home. Now, are women going to have equal pay? Are women going to have the same pay that men are earning, maybe in a similar position? Women will typically be paid less, but still their opportunities are growing outside of the home. All right? Teaching will become a female-dominated profession in the mid-19th century. Yes, teaching. We're going to see in the mid-19th century, we're going to see a rise, especially in the Northeast. We're going to see among New York and Massachusetts, the first two states to institute public schooling. Most of your early public school teachers are going to be women. And to this day, and I'll close on this statement, to this day, vast overwhelming majority of your elementary school teachers in the United States remain to be women. Okay? Okay? That was established during this period. All right, time that perfect.